Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again. And so are these fans. It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions.
Boston organization has been well run for a long time now. From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
The Red Sox have won the World Championship. The Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1. They win the World Series 4-1. And the Red Sox become the first team in the 21st century with 4 World Championships. Can you believe it?
So the Big Pesky Podcast. I am your host, the Ritt, and with me, I've got one hell of a crew today. I got, of course, my man DC. I've got Melissa, aka Sox Addict.
What's going on?
And no, this is not ITM, but we got Joey Capponi, man. What's going on, guys?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey, the pleasure is all ours, of course. So, man, the Sox are a 500 ball
appreciate
team.
You coming on.
So, Sox are a 500 ball team, and man, if offense only, we got to be one of the best teams in baseball. But you throw out our pitching, our horrendous defense we have in the infield, and it takes us right back down to 500. So DC, well, what are your thoughts so far on the Red Sox season and the Red Sox past couple games?
You say DC?
DC, yeah. Don't be gun shy now, man.
It cut out. Man, because I know when we had Sox Addict on Melissa last show, I said that it'd be fair that they'd be over 500. So I need them to take 2 out of 3 from the Guardians to keep that alive. Obviously, not the start that I wanted. Losing the ball sucked. Pitching has been pretty horrendous, if you ask me. But I'm going to say positive. It's the first month of the season. I'm just going to be optimistic, man. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Melissa, what about you so far?
I feel the same. I've had some surprises. Like I honestly thought we would have done worse in some ways, and then we've done worse and better. So it's. I'm upset with all the injuries. That's not fun, and I feel like we'll always have injuries. It's kind of like the curse or something. So
yeah. So Joey, what about you, man? 500 baseball.
I mean, that seems about perfect for what the team is. They've been exactly 500 through 10 games. And then I think they were exactly 500 through, I think it was 16 or 18. And now they're 500 again through 26. When their bats get going, the pitching doesn't have it. When the pitching has it, the bats don't get going. It feels like everybody in the lineup is a 50-50 coin flip whether or not they're going to show up any given night. So 500 seems exactly appropriate for what they are. Mm-hmm. So I think at this point, given how bad your rotation in particular has been, you're kind of lucky to be 500 because you needed one of the best lineups in baseball to be keeping you 500, and that's what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that rotation, let's just start right there. We're going to talk about Chris Sale's performance in his last outing, which was a first time ever in his career, 0 Ks. The only other time that happened was when he was pitching against the Yankees and he took the comebacker to his finger. So I went and tweeted this out halfway through, I said, Sale's got to be tipping his pitches. There is no way that the Orioles team can see Chris Sale that well, and he gets no Ks at all. Joey, well, what are your thoughts about Chris Sale's last performance?
Well, I was thinking a similar thing. I don't know if I wanted to entirely jump to the conclusion that he must be tipping, but I thought it was a possibility. I saw Spear tweet that they did look over the footage and that Cora and the video team and Sale all came to the conclusion that he wasn't tipping, which sucks because that just means that his stuff was seeable and hittable, and that's way worse. I really wish the answer was, no, he was tipping and they saw when his slider was coming and whatever, and they were laying off the stuff that slipped out of the zone, but that just wasn't the case. They were just seeing him. Chris Sale is going to be frustrating for a while. He already has been frustrating for a while to the average Sox fan. I don't see that changing tomorrow. For years, I think the less tolerant Sox fans wrote him off entirely and said, screw him, he can't stay healthy, he's not really a part of this team anymore, he's never going to be Chris Sale of 2018 again, and completely shut him out, closed the book on Chris Sale. And I think the more patient fans, myself included, said, like, let's wait and see. Let's see what a full, healthy season of Sale looks like. There's no reason that he can't come back. His damage wasn't structural, so he should be able to get right back there. The velo is up. He's had rest. He's not as old as people think he is. So let's just get a full, healthy season of Chris Sale. And now that it looks like we're getting that, or at least we're off to the start of that, it sucks because the conversation is now shifting to, oh no, is this the new Chris Sale? And not because he missed time, not because he had some damage, and not because he's too old, but just, is this the new Chris Sale? And how long of a leash does he get? Not just game to game, but over the course of the season. How long can you maintain an 11.25 ERA? Or, I think it's down a little bit now after that one good start. But how long can you maintain a borderline double-digit ERA and remain in the rotation when there's so many guys vying for spots in that rotation off strictly name and contract size? I don't think it happens tomorrow, but I think and I don't want to jump to any massive conclusions because this is just feeling him out and it's only been a handful of starts. But when you have, 5 starts under your belt and 4 of them are bad and 1 of them's good, that to me is honestly worst case scenario, because that's every 5 starts is he going to be giving you a reason to keep him in the rotation and give you these little glimpses of what he could be to just maintain his spot, but never really contribute to wins. It's frustrating. It's deflating, but I'm trying not to jump to too big of a conclusion and get too pull the trigger too quick on how I feel. But right now it's very frustrating.
Yeah, man, I was all watching spring training Chris Sale, with him smiling, having a good time. Like, that was like, okay, I can get behind this Chris Sale. But it's almost like he's not mentally prepared, not mentally there to when he has to click it in to, okay, it's beast mode. He's not able to do that for some reason. And it worries me a little bit where, especially with Baltimore being able to see him as well as they did, it's like, man, I'm a little worried about him. But like you said, it's still just a handful of starts. We still got a whole season to play yet. DC, I know you're a big Chris Sale advocate. So what did you think about his performance last with the Orioles?
Well, I think, I don't know if I joked on it on the podcast with you, Josh, but I know we talked about it, off the air. I take the blame, to be honest with you, as far as that. Every time I bet Sox, they lose. So I thought, you know what? I won't take the money line. I'll take the over on the Sale strike. I needed 7 strikeouts, which was, ballsy, and he gets 0 for the first time. So I'm gonna just give him a little pass. But no, on a serious note, I'm gonna stay patient. I'm gonna remain patient. One quality start out of the first 5 is not very promising. He hasn't made too many starts over the last 3 years, so I'm trying to keep. But I mean, talk to me in maybe like beginning of June. See how his next 5 starts. If they go the same way, and I might kind of pull the alarm. But I'm gonna stay patient. I'm gonna this storm. But it is concerning. It is frustrating, like Joey said. I mean, you got so used to seeing that Chris Sale, when we first got him from Chicago, then, what he did for us in 2008. It just sucks seeing him. You see him in his interviews. As of right now, I'm going to stay patient. If we do another 5 starts that we just did, it's going to. Yeah.
Okay. Sox Addict. Melissa, what do you think about the performance overall?
Yeah, it was frustrating. He was struggling, I think, but I think he's gonna figure it out. I'm hoping he just gets a group. But I try to just be optimistic. That's just me. Everybody knows that. But I think that he still cares. Like he cares, obviously.
And that's okay. I love it.
Tantrum. that was, But so I think that as long as he cares, maybe he gets in that groove, and then I think I don't know. I just don't want to see more of that. I like Joey said, I would rather it not be, every once in a while that he shows up, that the real Chris Sale shows up. So
yeah.
DC, I'll take some blame with you, bro. Not necessarily not on the Chris Sale start, but on the Corey Kluber one. I'll take credit for him going and just having the best outing of the year so far. So flip side of what you were doing, because I bet on him having over 1.5 walks, over 2.5 runs earned, over it's under 4.5 strikeouts. And it was like I just bet against Corey Kluber in every way possible, and he came out on top. So I can't say I'm going to do it again, but I totally get that. Like you think like, oh, like this is the time, this guy has found it, or in Corey Kluber's case, like this guy will not find it. And then just flipping a switch. But what's frustrating, to tie it back to Chris Sale here, is that neither of them have the ability, it seems yet, to just stay where you want them to stay. Mm-hmm. And that's super frustrating from your 1 and 2. If that's happening from your 3 and 4 starters, you can get away with that. And hopefully your 1 and 2 can save your bullpen a little bit. And, your 3 or 4 guy goes 4 1/3. Who cares? That's all right. Get out of here, Mia. Maybe next time around, bro. We got the bullpen all warmed up. We're good to go. But when your 1 and 2 are struggling to regularly go 4 or 5 innings, that's going to screw up everything. So now your bottom of the rotation guys, your guys who are called up from Worcester, your Cutter Crawfords, your, Wink's. I don't think Wink has got to start this year, is he? I don't think he has. But, those kind of guys, those Worcester call-up guys that are making starts at the bottom of your rotation now have a depleted bullpen behind them too. Mm-hmm. So it screws up everything, even on days where they're not pitching. And it shouldn't be the case. I don't think you necessarily need Sale to be dominant because your lineup is so strong. But what you can't do is just let him go 4 1/3 and, no Ks, tons of balls in play. Like that's exactly what you don't want from him. That's like the only option on the table that you can't get from him. So for him to come out of his best start of the year and give you that is super deflating. It just took the wind right out of my sails, my Chris Sale sales. And yeah, I don't now going forward for a while, I'm going to have zero expectation around Sale.
Yeah, man, I'm just kind of glad that DC, you and Joey kind of balanced us out a little bit, We're going from Sale to Kluber, because when I was watching Kluber pitch, I was like, dude, wait, is that really Corey Kluber out there pitching? Because it did not look like him. The last time I seen Kluber pitch like that was what, on the Indians?
Yeah, it was back when he was Kluber.
Yeah. Now he's Klubot, and maybe someone upgraded his program. So
I heard that's the one thing he doesn't like.
Yeah, he
Isn't
doesn't.
that crazy?
I heard he doesn't like being called that.
Yeah. Of all the things, that's like the one thing that.
Yeah, good job, bro.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Probably just burn that bridge.
Yeah, get it on the show now. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm not hating on him, but he kind of strikes me as a guy that's reminds me to do that, like teaches and then coaches like basketball right after. There's nothing wrong with that, but like it just looks like I don't know. Maybe he reminds me of my coach, to be honest with you.
He does kind of remind me of a guy you'd run into at the bar that's there alone. That you'd turn to and he'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Miller Lite, huh?"
drinking
And you're
triple.
like, "Oh, dude, please don't start up a conversation with me, bro. I'm trying to hang out with my friends, and I'm gonna be stuck at the bar with this barfly." Like the bartenders all like, don't accept credit cards from him anymore. He does kind of remind me of that, which is different than what you said, but in the same vein. Like he could have come from the AAU basketball coaching to come do that.
Next topic.
Just had a rough tournament,
Oh yeah.
That he almost got turned down for a gym teacher job. So now that Kluber's never going to want to be on the podcast.
I thought about
ever.
it, to be honest with you. I thought about doing it.
So, next topic. It seems to me like Alex Cora, and a lot of people are either for AC or against them. But no matter what, he seems to bring out the best in players, and he knows how to push the right buttons. Look at this year. We have Verdugo going off at the leadoff spot. Jaron Duran has seemed to find stuff and be able to play Major League Baseball at a level that we all expected him to. He's done stuff in the past, talking to people over and over again. So let's start with you, DC, about Alex Cora. What are your thoughts on him being able to coach and bring out the best in his players and the team he has?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot has to do with that is, he has experience as a player in MLB, so, he knows what it takes to, what you need to bring to the table as a player. He knows his players very well in and out, just based off, seeing him in the media or, reading stories about him or, seeing him on TV. I knows how to connect with each player in a different way. He's done that, and I've read multiple times that he's still very, very close with Carlos Correa. He's just good at connecting, and I think obviously too is John Farrell brought a championship for us, but I don't think he was player favorite, and then Valentine before him, or Valentine, or whatever you want to call him. He didn't have too many big shoes to fill as far as that. So he reminds me of a guy like Terry Francona. He's a player's coach. He knows how to reach out. He knows how to motivate players. I think about his comments about Verdugo at the end of the year, about how this year he really needs to make that extra step. And, he had the interview that Verdugo had about, he said that kind of lit a fire under his ass. That's what he needed to hear. It sucked to hear it, but it's what he needed to hear. I've always been a big AC fan. Obviously, the stuff that happened in 2017 is another story. But, what he's done here has been awesome. I was glad that they brought him back after the suspension. And I think he's awesome with the players. The players, they buy in. And, it starts from the top, you know what I mean? From the manager down. So I think we're very lucky to have him. I may not agree with all of his moves as far as, bullpen moves or, stuff like that at the end of the game. But I think in that aspect, he knocks it out of the park with relating to his players and getting the most out of them.
Yeah. Melissa, what are your thoughts on this?
Just to add that, the way he communicates. That's one of his strengths, is communicating with them, and because the things he said to like Verdugo last year could have, it just depends. He knew he could say that to Verdugo, and Verdugo take that and use that. So I think he's just good at communicating with them for sure.
Joey, you're up, my man.
Yeah, he's also literally good at communicating with them because he's bilingual. So I think that's like
that too. It definitely helps. It definitely helps.
It really does. Because I mean, think about 2015, 16, and how many Latin players are on that team. And picture John Farrell trying to say, "Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué pasa, mis amigos?" Like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no anything there. Like how do you be managed by a guy who like you don't even share a language with? So I think being a bilingual manager in MLB should be borderline mandatory.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think that's a huge aspect of it, and I think also Cora was a guy that before he got the job, I didn't think about much. He wasn't a guy who I looked back and thought like Red Sox legend Alex Cora.
Mm-mm.
But now that he's back around again, he carries himself like an alumni who has mattered to this team. He carries himself like his stats are a lot better than they are. And I feel like I could say that to his face. So I feel okay saying that. But he just has this air about him like I've been there. Like I've been there, so I can talk to you guys like this.
Yeah.
I've been there, so I can tell you what works and what doesn't. And he also doesn't manage like his job is on the line, which I think is really, really cool. I think he has a comfort in the front office that they want him there. And I think he knows well and good that I'm here and I'm managing. I'm comfortable. I'm cool. I'm calm. He doesn't have to be on the edge of his seat and think like, what do they want me to do? What was going to get me the most longevity here? He just shoots from the hip. And I think part of that is that he has said openly he doesn't want to do this forever.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he's not trying to please anybody else, and he's like, no, I think I know what's best. And I think I know what these guys want to hear. I think I know what works best on the field and what doesn't. And then I'm going to just bring my best. Lends itself to being the best that you can be. When you let your guard down and you are truly yourself, it's probably when you're going to do the best job, kind of no matter what the job is, unless you're, I don't know, a scientist, in which case, follow the formula. Don't rely on what your gut tells you.
Yeah.
There's a few of those. If you're working in a nuclear reactor or something, press the right buttons. But baseball manager is a good job to follow your gut. And on top of that, he is also a guy who rides the line in terms of age, where he still feels like one of the guys when he wants to. So his ability to open up and get loose with the guys and feel like one of the guys, and his ability to put his foot down and say no, this is what you're doing, and maybe give some tough love to a guy or tell somebody that what they're doing is wrong. And not in the business of naming names, but I know he's done that with a few guys who are on this roster right now. And he gave them some tough love last year. And the two guys that I'm thinking of, I'm not going to name them, both have turned it around this year.
Yeah.
And I think you can take some guesses as to who they are. But he laid down the no, I'm not going to take that shit here. That's not who we are. That's not the way we play this game. So, tighten it up if you're going to be on Boston Red Sox. I think across the board, I mean, I don't know who else I would want managing this team. And I have this weird pre-sadness, pre-upsetness of what is the guy who has to fill Alex Cora's shoes going to be?
Yeah.
What does that guy have to do? Because he's so likable, he's so honest, he's so forthcoming. I would hate to be the guy who has to follow his shoes. Fortunately, I don't think that I'm going to have to worry about that too much for myself. But I love Cora, and I think anybody who rags on him just has only read headlines.
Exactly.
Yeah. Personally, 2018, I was the guy after the first game that was dude, get rid of this guy. And then look what happened. After that first game, and I said that, in Cora I trust. That's it. I can't sit there and go out there and be oh, well, why do you put Brazier out there for 2 innings? He knows what he's doing. I just gotta follow suit. So
I still wonder.
That one's fair. That one's fair.
Yeah, I'm like, I still wonder that. Why?
I think during spring training, though, there were a lot of folks who were like, "Oh, like, what do you think the lineup should look like?" And I went on some podcast that asked me, like, "Oh, like, build the lineup." And I told them, I was like, Cora knows better than me. So, like, there's no reason for me to do this. Like, we can speculate about what Cora may think, but, like, I'm not going to build, like, what I think is the best because there is a better one, and it's whatever Alex Cora builds.
Yeah. So, I love how Alex Cora, like, when Jarren Duran didn't make the MLB roster to start the season, he gave him the advice, just play, just have fun. And I don't know, Jarren Duran's having a lot of fun in the majors now, you know, and his bat is helping us out extraordinary in that lineup right now. So next topic, was kind of a little different one. The Red Sox hurting future starting pitchers, which I just now realized I misspelled the word pitchers. But anyways, a lot of the Red Sox starting pitchers that are the future of this team are in the bullpen. Do you guys think that it could hurt them in the long run, or do you think it's just going to help them? Melissa, let's start with you.
I don't think it's going to hurt him. Like Joey just said, AC knows what he's doing, and he's got a reason for it. So I don't think it's going to hurt him.
Okay, Joey?
I'm curious who you have in mind, because the only guy that comes to mind is Winkowski, and he had a shot starting, and he's been nails in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious who you got in mind when you're talking about this topic.
Me personally, it's Cutter Crawford. I think Cutter Crawford, by like shortening his innings and shortening his opportunity, trying to stretch him out then when needed might be a problem, I think. And like Winkowski, he worked on a lot of his mechanics, and I think he could easily be stretched out to 5-6 innings, you know, if need be, in a spot start. But Cutter Crawford, I sit there and think he's still young, and I just don't like the fact of playing hot potato. Bullpen start, because then you could end up like Tanner Houck or Whitlock, where you're end up having to have some sort of surgery or getting injured going back and forth.
I get that. I don't like the idea of moving guys back and forth. I mean, Whitlock is a golden shining example of why you don't move guys back and forth, to change their responsibility, to change their workload, to change their routine is the biggest one. Because all of these guys, I mean, I'm not breaking any news to you guys. Every single guy on the 40-man is a psycho when it comes to their routine.
Yeah.
Be it sunbathing in right field, or be it, you know, whatever Chris Sale does, eating nails and headbutting drywall. I don't know. Like everybody has like their thing that they do. And to make Garrett Whitlock go from, like every 5 days, get on your system and know what you do on day 2, day 3, day 4. And also sometimes now, actually, you know, you're back in the bullpen. We're going to need you every 2 days. You're going to throw an inning. Every 3 days, you're going to throw 2 innings. Is banana lands, and you're going to screw guys up. Cutter Crawford, though. I think Cutter Crawford's been more up and down than we think of. Because right now, he's looked pretty good. He had that 6 1/3 relief appearance, which is essentially a start. We can call that a start. But he's not some prospect. He's not 21. He's 27. Like, he's not a prospect. He's had his moment here. He's had a few opportunities. I believe that he's probably going to stick around this time, although he might kind of be on the taxi squad a little bit this year. That at least next year he's probably going to be in your rotation. But he doesn't show massive variable numbers from one to the other. I think that he's a guy who's just still trying to earn his spot on the big league club permanently. Last year, when he first came up, he had a Baseball Savant page that I cannot properly express to you guys. It was every single category was like 5th percentile and down. It was
Oh.
the worst baseball
Ooh.
savant I've ever seen. And it was through like, I want to say 4 or 5 outings. And I remember sitting at Fenway with Steve and we looked at the savant page together and we laughed and we're like, what is he doing here? Like, how can you possibly be touting this guy out here? And granted, like, that's changing up his routine to bring him up and whatever. And you give a guy a little bit of leeway. But beyond him, it's tough for me to find a guy that I'm like, oh, well, you're squandering this guy's opportunity. The only other guy who, is in the bullpen right now who might have had, a starter position was Wink. And he was there. And I kind of love what he's doing now as a reliever. I don't really want to change that up. I also said the same thing about Whitlock. So the Sox have a proclivity for taking guys who are good in the bullpen and sticking them in the rotation. So do I expect to see Josh as a starter this year? Probably. But I don't know if they're squandering opportunity as much as they are kind of just screwing with guys. I wish that they would leave guys alone when they're doing well. And I hope that they have chosen to do that with Wink. I also hope that they've chosen to do it with Whitlock and leaving him in the rotation so they don't go back and forth. Because like you said, Ritt, that's just the worst thing you can do to a pitcher.
Yeah, definitely. DC, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Melissa and Joey. Other than Wink, I don't see anybody that really we're really hurting, to be honest with you. And if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? As far as Wink, he's been pretty lights out in the bullpen, and we need that with the way our starting pitcher has been going. I think eventually we do get more out of Kluber. Like I said, I'm going to be optimistic, and I think that kind of shores up that with Paxton coming back shortly here. Yeah, I don't really see an overall deficit to their growth and all that. To touch what Joey said, the Whitlock thing, I think that bothers me still. I wish they would have just kept him where he was at. The bouncing back and forth screwed him up. But yeah, overall, I think you got to put the best players out there, and it's kind of like you fill the holes where you need the needs. And Wink's tearing it up in the bullpen. I am a fan of Cutter Crawford. He makes some big starts for us last year, but I don't know if he can, do that for a full season in the rotation. That's what scares me, is the consistency with him. Overall, I don't think it's hindering any growth or development. And not to steal what they both what AC's doing. Like I said, I know I didn't highlight that. Sometimes I question it, but I'm not the manager of the Boston Red Sox. I'm sitting here talking about the Boston Red Sox. So I'm gonna go with what AC does.
Hey, we gotta sit there and follow AC. He's the one that leads us in the battle. So, but no, I sit there and I just wish they would give Cutter and Wink their roles and let them just ride. Because I don't want to see them end up like Tanner Houck did last year and Whitlock, where they're bouncing back and forth, and then all of a sudden we lose them for a couple months because we can't afford that right now, especially with our starting pitcher, the way it is. So
it's ugly the way it is. It's very ugly the way it is.
Oh man,
yeah. I mean, we gotta definitely keep those guys healthy.
So. But let's turn to the power of positivity. The next topic is, what will the lineup look like when it's fully healthy this season? So we're looking Trevor Story.
It's funny.
I know what you're gonna say, DC, but go ahead.
I wanted to actually laugh when Joe was talking about and they talked about a projected loss. I remember seeing this for like one of the next topics, and I wanted to chuckle a little bit, but I don't want to cut anybody off. But we're just going to speculate.
Yeah, pure speculation. So, but Duvall's out right now. Trevor Story's out. Of course, we got Christian Arroyo out. No, Arroyo's not out.
He's hanging in there, playing through it.
Chang's out. So
Chang's out.
We're looking Okay, if Duran keeps going the way he's going, does he get center field over Adam Duvall when he comes back? Joey, what are your thoughts?
All right. So I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna open a little discussion board here. Does Jarren Duran maintain that until July or August?
I gotta go with yeah.
Okay.
I'll go first.
I gotta go with the hot bet. He's playing like he wants to have fun, but he's playing now like he should have played during spring training instead of going off to playing the WBC, and he's earning his spot on the Boston Red Sox right now.
Okay. So here are some fun little numbies. I'm stalling while I take a sec to get them up here. Jarren Duran has played in 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Duvall played in 8 games. Over the course of 8 games, Duvall was hitting .455 with a 1544 OPS. Jarren Duran hitting .400 with a 1054 OPS. Both stupidly high numbers in both categories for both guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Neither one's sustainable. Neither of them are going to hit 400 over the course of the year. So I think that's your answer, is that neither of them is consistently doing that. I think nobody came into the year thinking, God, it's going to be so hard to pick between Duvall or Duran in center field, because they're both going to be hitting 400 and they're both going to be on pace to have 55 homers. No, they're both going to have hot streaks and they're both going to have games. They're probably going to share center field. And I think the one guy that you don't move all year, I think it's actually 2 guys, is your corner outfielders. I think Yoshi is there as much as he can be while he's healthy, provided that he finds it a little bit more, which I'm confident he will. And Verdugo, you just leave. Verdugo is on pace to be an all-star, so you do not touch him.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Verdugo is on the verge of a career year, which I am just all on board for.
Yes.
But I think when those guys come back, Kike, this is my guess here. Okay, I would say Kike is probably at second, Story's probably at short, and then Christian is your first backup behind them. Yu Chang will probably be the backup behind them. I hope that you never have to see Emmanuel Valdez play middle infield ever again, because my goodness, is that hard to watch?
Yes.
It's rough.
That's a really, really tough one. So I hope that it never goes deeper than that again. But I think that's really your big changes, is like, it's the way it's supposed to be. Kike is over at second because he can do that for you, because he's versatile, he's athletic, and he can do that. Trevor Story is playing where he should play. Honestly, you could flip-flop him. Kike had a really tough start to the year at short, but there might be a case to put him at short so that Story can have a shorter throw at second.
I was thinking, like, which one of them is going to be short and which one's going to be second, like, because Kike did have some rough, but Trevor Story was so good at second last year. So.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think it's cut and dry. I think it's totally up to how they perform. And I think the third piece of this is the crazy one. Ready for this? Ready? I don't know if JT maintains his spot as the DH all year. So on days where Adam Duvall isn't playing center, putting him at DH, is that an option? I don't know. We've only seen him for 8 games. It's crazy to really think of that. We've saw him for 8 games. So like, to get a real read on him, like what he's going to be like all year, is crazy. But as Duvall, Duran, Turner, I think are going to be oscillating through that center field / DH spot, other than JT playing center, obviously. But I think there's going to be a revolving door there among those 3 in those spots.
Yeah, but man, sit there and just think about Duvall. Duvall seems like we were watching him play last season, because he did so much in such a short little amount of time. It's like, wait a minute, that was this year? And those are the best 8 games of my life. Best 8 games of my life.
That Duvall walk-off, has potential still to be highlight reel stuff for the year.
Yes.
Mhm.
It probably will be.
Yes.
It's
It
a
felt like
walk-off.
playoffs. It felt like that.
Absolutely.
Well, Joey, to a little credit I'm going to put towards DC. DC tweeted out in the 7th inning, "We're walking this one off."
He did.
And then
Wow.
all of a sudden, all of a
did.
sudden, it was like, wait a minute. And as soon as the ball hit that, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" Like.
Let
It
me
was all
find it.
DC.
What was the date of that one? Do you guys know? Off the top? I'll find it.
It was game 3. It was game 3. So
For the
4-1.
or the 2nd of April.
Right? The second.
oh yeah, it wasn't April Fool's.
It was April 2nd. You're right.
But
'Cause
man,
I'm pretty sure that I said a similar thing, and I want to see it. I'm willing to give DC credit. I bet that you were there before me.
oh,
I have to make sure that I was
Oh,
there.
it was the first. It's the first because the second they won by like 4 runs. The first they won by 1. The ball hit second, 2-run home run for a walk. You got it first.
Okay.
Here we go. We're having an old fashioned tweet off.
It doesn't look like I said it explicitly.
Oh.
I didn't, did I? Okay, all right. You win this round, DC. Next time. Next time,
Oh,
you
man.
watch out.
You know what? I hope you win the next round.
I do too, because it means the Sox walked it off.
Exactly.
But yeah, DC, the lineup fully healthy. Go ahead, shoot it.
All right, let me pull up my Apple notes. So I had Verdugo, Devers, as much as I prefer him in the 3-hole. Turner, Duvall, Yoshida, Story, Kike, Casas, and McGuire. But I agree with Joey. I could see if Duran sustains this production. Obviously, he's not going to hit 400 like he said. All comes back. I could see them splitting, and like you said about JT, I could see the ball taking some starts away from him at DH. A lot of people do forget. You read about Justin Turner. He's a great hitter, but a lot of people forget he's 38. You know what I mean? He could break down. He's been producing for us, at an all right clip, but I could see him platooning with the ball, whenever he does get those off days in center field.
Melissa, what about you?
I hate to be negative. I think to myself, will we ever all be healthy? Will we ever have a full healthy team? That's what I wonder. Just saying that's because I pretty much agree with Joey and DC. It's just I wonder, what is that like? I would like to know.
Even if you're not, like you got a guy in Kike who is super, super valuable, although he has been frustrating, that he can play the infield, he can play the outfield, he can play anywhere other than really behind the dish. He could really get on the mound for you if need be. So the ability to move him around. You still have Tapia, who we just haven't mentioned in this whole conversation about depth in the outfield and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still have him too. So like, even if you're not fully healthy, you still have the opportunity to move guys around and make this all work without having to get as deep as Valdez.
Yeah.
Which is, I just can't believe
really
it.
excited when they brought him up because I really had heard, I was like, okay, but no.
Spring training was fun. I liked seeing him.
Yeah.
But he made it so clear to you that he's not big league ready. He's just not. Some of the things he was doing were little league. Missing a ground ball because he was reaching for it across his body. Like this routine grounder. I tweeted something and it's like sometimes you make a tweet and you're like, oh, this'll land, right? People will know this is a joke, right? And I'm not sure it did. But it's like put your body in front of the ball. Have you not been told that since you were 7? What are you doing? Like, do you think that you're like, who do you think you are? And he also did some weird things where, like, when he got into the box, he like tapped the catcher, tapped the umpire, tipped his cap to the opposing dugout. And it's like, do you think that you're Derek Jeter? What are you doing? So like, on top of like wanting the Sox to win, I also wanted to just like enjoy the players and enjoy watching them. And like, that's a tough first impression.
Yeah.
So I would like to not have to like scrounge up guys from Worcester who are like, for some reason, thinking that they're worthy of a double tap, the ump, tap the catcher.
No.
I don't know about all that.
Okay, Joey, quick question. Who would you rather? Okay, you have to watch 9 innings
Okay.
of either Valdez playing second base
Mm-hmm.
or them giving Jaron Duran a shot at second base.
Oh, you're gonna say Bobby Dahlbeck at short.
I was thinking that, but I actually sit there and think that's more punishment with Bob stop.
I love Bob.
Let's just bring back Mark
love
Bell here,
Bob.
man.
I love Bob.
He's also, people don't talk about this enough. He's so handsome. So like that's part of it. That's something
Very handsome.
something to remember in all
He is
this
a handsome
conversation
fella.
about him.
I
What do you call him?
definitely remember.
And I even like the glasses. They work for him.
I sit there and I had to take this from a great. I had to take it from a great podcast, Throbby D.
That is true. That is true. Throbby D. Lest we forget.
Robbing
dude.
his way through town, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. So 9 innings of Valdez at second, or what was the second option?
Or we're gonna move Jaron Duran second, where he originally played at for a little bit.
I don't remember ever. Has he ever played second in the bigs?
No, never second in the bigs.
Okay. Well, then it's tough to know, but it's weird because he has such a high top speed, but his acceleration and his jump in center has always been ridiculed. I don't know enough or watch, an angle where I can really criticize his jump and his first step and whatever. I leave that to the professionals. So like if those guys are criticizing it, all I can bring to the table is that it has been criticized. So that would lead me to believe he's not the best infielder, right? And his top speed has probably bailed him out a few times if his jump isn't the best in center. So I don't know if I want him in the infield based just on those things. Hopefully the answer to your question is I never have to watch either of them play the infield.
Man, it's just horrible to sit there like Valdez. Like I loved watching him for the Woo Sox. He was doing good down there. But then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. It was like a train wreck. Like overall, car crashes everywhere. And it was just horrible.
That was tough. Some of those plays he made the other day, it's like you start to feel bad for a guy because it's like he's trying. Like, and some of them worked out. Like that one that was kind of deep in the hole that he ended up throwing to second, and he somehow got the guy. He was like, okay, I guess that works, but would have been smarter to throw to first. And then that play ended up saving a run. It's like, okay, all right, we'll give you some credit there. That's nice. And it's like he's trying, and he looks like he's moving, and he probably feels a little nervous, but you just wish that every guy's call up was for the right reason,
Exactly. So here is our favorite segment on the Pesky Podcast. We play a little fair or foul. Joey, I don't know if you're familiar with fair or foul.
I was going to say, do you guys have like a little theme song or something, a little soundbite for fair or foul when you announce it? Because I could give you one if you want it.
Oh, hook us up, Joey. Hook us up.
All right, introduce it again.
Oh, well, here we go. This is the favorite segment on the Pesky Podcast. We're gonna play fair or foul.
That's supposed to be a ball getting hit. We feel good about that?
Hey,
Genius.
I love it. Now I just need you to sit there and just send me the little sound bite.
Yeah, I will. I'll clip that.
So, but our first one, unfair or foul. The current Red Sox outfield is the best in baseball. We're going defense, offense, the overall total package. So, Melissa, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Fair or foul?
I'm gonna have to say that they're very good. Like they've been doing well, but I think the best in baseball, that would be foul. I think Tampa has them on that, in my opinion.
Ooh, okay.
I hate Tampa, so I hate to say it, but I think we could possibly have it, but I'm gonna have to go foul on this one. And I hate going negative. But
Hey, but you're keeping it straight and real with us.
I'm keeping it real.
So, DC, let's hit it. Fair or foul?
I'm gonna go foul. I mean, they've been playing well. Yoshida's been tearing it up the last few games to get his average up. You know, he's been coming up with some big hits, but I don't think they're the best in MLB. I mean, just think off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure there's even better than this, but I mean, think about the Angels outfield. You got Renfroe with his arm in right field, Trout with his defense and his bat, and then you have Taylor Ward for himself. Like I said, there's 3 teams out there with better outfields than that, but I would take the Angels outfield over ours.
Wow. Okay. Joey.
Second thought. Well, I mean, Mike Trout's carrying that. He's definitely the anchor of that statement. But I don't think we're the best.
Okay. So we got 2 fouls. Joey.
This is gonna be a foul from me too, dude. Yeah, that there's just too many great outfields. The first one that comes to mind is the team that I'm a closeted fan of, and that's the Padres with Soto, Grisham, Tatis now. With the Astros, you got Jordan, McCormick, Tucker. With the Braves, dude, you got Rosario, Harris, Acuna. Like there's some crazy outfields out there, and Yoshi hasn't really proved himself yet. You know, he's had big moments, but he hasn't really proved himself yet. And your center field has been a revolving door. Granted, 2 of the guys who've been part of that revolving door have been 400 hitters, but that's like not the same to me as having like 3 solid dudes. But I mean, your right field is your right field. I mean, I love Alex Verdugo, and he's super strong. But like those 3 teams to me stick out more than anybody. And then, I mean, after them, the list doesn't even stop there. There's even in your own division, you got the Jays. Arguably, you got the Yankees. The Angels, I think, is a good answer too. There's a lot of teams out there, and there's a lot of good outfielders out there, especially when you start to talk about like just production at the plate. So yeah, that's a foul for me.
Okay, I'm going to sit there and throw out some numbers so far and where they're ranked in each category, the Red Sox outfield. They're ranked first in average with a combined 304 batting average. On base percentage, they're ranked second with 387. Slugging, they're ranked first at a 505. OPS, first, 892. They're ranked third in K rate at 16.8. They're ranked 11th at a walk rate, 10.4%. And they're ranked 9th with 13 home runs. That's a pretty nice outfield at behind the plate there. And of course, it's only the first month of the season. I will be the odd man out, and I will take production over name value. And I'm going to say fair for the first month of the year. The Red Sox have the best outfield in baseball, production-wise. So,
It got really warm in here.
hey. That's just because Joey's here.
Come on now.
So
I'll take that. I'll take
Hey.
those compliments all day.
Next up, we're going to go. The Red Sox pitching staff is one starting pitcher away from being a contender. We're going to start. We're going to start with Joey.
You're talking playoff contender or World Series contender?
We're talking wild card. We're 500. Let's start baby steps.
There's certainly one starter away from being a wild
We're
card
not shooting for the
contender.
stars here.
Yeah, if you want to talk about sneaking your way in, there's certainly one starter away from that. It's God, answer is so frustrating because I want to just merge Kluber and Sale into one person. I want them to I don't want either of them. I don't want there to be a hard answer on who has to go. And it sucks that that conversation really is between your 1 and 2 because they both have been dragging, and who knows if they keep dragging, who knows if they find it, blah blah blah. But what's upsetting is you have 7 starting pitchers. It's if you could just take the humanity away. If this was a video game, it would be sick to try out who's the best in the bullpen, each of them, and then substitute one ace at the top of that rotation. But you don't have the luxury of doing that because these are human people you're talking about changing up their whole lives and their whole routine. But I would say adding a starting pitcher is not necessarily what you need right now. It's you need deeper relief, and you need just a good pitcher in place of these middling ones. Take a couple of middling ones, make them into one good one. So I'm gonna say, all that considered, that's such a wishy-washy answer. I'll say yes because I think they're right on the verge of it anyway.
Okay, we got a fair. DC, what about you?
I'm going to go. I think we're one away from sneaking in. Kind of was saying, I think we have to shore up some other, areas of need. I think if we get one starting pitcher and get what he said, get the middle relief, the long relief in the back end, I'm going to go fair with it. I would like to, like I said, man, I'm going to be optimistic. I think Kluber and Sale are going to turn it around. Kluber makes me a little bit more nervous just because I think I'm biased and I love Sale, so I'm just trying to hold out all hope. But I would say just sneak one starting pitcher, but we would need at least 2 of our starters now to, pick it up, to even make any sort of noise at all in the postseason. You could sneak in, but you could lose that game right away. You know what I mean? And I'm, either Boston Red Sox, you're trying to get past the first wild card game. So I'm going to go fair to sneak in, but I'd, done with the bullpen. Obviously injuries are hurting us right now, but yeah, I'm going to go fair.
Okay, 2 fairs. Melissa, it's all up to you.
I'm going to agree and go fair.
Okay. I will sit there and be the devil's advocate, and I'll say foul. I think we need more healthy starting rotation than we do a whole new starting pitcher. We got Paxton coming. He hasn't pitched in how long? I don't think adding one starting pitcher will actually.
Is his arm still attached to his body?
I hope so.
James Paxton died 6 years ago. And we're gonna wheel his corpse out onto the mound.
But no, I think
just sitting on the mound.
Man, but I sit there and think that we need more than just the starting pitcher. We got potential to have a great pitching staff. We just got to get them all going at the same time, or at least one of our two aces, our 1 and 2s, one of them has to go. Joey's got to keep betting against Kluber, to help us out. And in DC, you just got to stay away from betting on Sale. Period. So
I am done. Anything. And that sucks, man, because I'm a gambling man. Responsible though.
Of course.
Sometimes.
Next up, unfair or foul, the Red Sox will have 5 All-Stars come July. 5. That's a lot. I was looking at the whole lineup. I looked at the starting pitchers and then I passed them by really quick. I looked at the bullpen and I'm like, 5. It was between 4 or 5, and I said, let's be optimistic and let's see 5. So, DC, let's start with you. The Red Sox will have 5 All-Stars in July.
I'm gonna go foul. I can name 3 off the top of my head that I think will get there. Verdugo, Devers, and Jansen. I don't see putting himself in a position to be picked for the All-Star game. I hope I'm wrong, obviously, but if I had to guess, I'd say 3, maybe 4. But yeah, Devers, Verdugo, if Jansen can sneak in there, as he's been tearing it up. But I'm gonna go foul with that and say 3. At least 3, but at the most 4.
Okay, Melissa, what about you?
Foul. And exactly, I wrote down the 3 same players that are possibly going. Yeah, there's a couple others that I think it's possible, but Verdugo and Jansen and Devers for sure. Not for sure, but I really think Verdugo will this year. I know Devers is that's going to happen, but Jansen possibly and Verdugo possibly.
Joey, it's all on you.
Boring answer. I had the exact same 3. No more, no less. All 3 of them make it. No more than them make it. Unless the only borderline guy in my head is Yoshi, if he just finds it. Finds it. But it's already too late for a couple of guys. I thought maybe JT could sneak in, but being a DH, you got to come out of the gate and just be hot.
Yep.
He wasn't hot. I still think he'll contribute, but not an all-star. I think 3 is really the magic number, and I think DC nailed it.
Can I throw out Winkowski? Do you think Wink, if he keeps going the way he does, he couldn't get an invite?
You know who will vote for Josh Winkowski to make the All-Star game is my 2-year-old son. He is the biggest Josh Winkowski fan on the planet, so he will get 1 All-Star vote at the very least.
Okay.
Beyond him, I don't know. Will
I
you
respect
find
it.
yourself on MLB.com voting for Josh Winkowski to get in? If he maintains similar numbers?
If he maintains, I would love to vote for him. I want to support the stash.
It's true. It's a great conversation. How much of his success can be attributed to his facial hair, because he does look like a carnival barker now versus a homeless man last year, which is quite the upgrade. But I don't know, man. I'm happy with what he's doing, but doesn't just check your gut. Really ask your heart. How do these words sound coming out of your mouth? Josh Winkowski, All-Star. Does that sound right?
It doesn't sound right.
No, that's it. In my mind, it's that's it. It's it doesn't feel right, doesn't sound right, so it can't possibly be right. It might. It might.
Usually take
Brock
a lot
Holt
of,
was an All-Star,
back-end
but
guys.
who knows?
What was that, DC?
And don't they usually take a lot of back end guys, setup guys, closers? It'd be tough to be a long relief. I know he's, but as much as it'd be cool to see him up there, I just don't see it happening.
It's also a matter of him maintaining these numbers until then. Or not these numbers, but similar ones. And like, I think we forget how quickly a reliever's ERA can just get screwed up. Like, look at Blyer's numbers before and after that 5-run inning.
Yep.
Like, it is nuts. Like, look at Caleb Ort's numbers before and after, that grand slam inning, that 2-homer inning. It is crazy. So, like, Wink really needs one bad outing to be, to have his numbers look really, really bad. They do change quick. So, he's not near the top of my list. And as far as the lineup goes, I don't think anybody else really competes for a spot there.
The only other person I could think of would be Massa, and that's if he keeps, going the trajectory that he is going right now. So
yeah.
And our last fair or foul question: Trevor Story will be back in Boston before the All-Star break. So let's start with Melissa. What are you thinking?
I think foul. I think it'll be after the All-Star break, but I don't know. I haven't even looked to see where he's at this point. So
he was supposed to be starting to take a little batting practice, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. I knew he was doing that, but I don't know how much of that he has to do, like how the healing with that goes. I know it's a newer thing, right? Like a newer procedure in healing time.
I think it's still a couple of weeks till he's swinging a bat. I think they said 3 weeks out till he's swinging.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at what, the middle end of
May?
May?
So he's gonna start throwing in 2 weeks. He'll start hitting in 4.
Yeah.
And that was as of 2 days ago.
And then he has how many? How long is he going to be in rehab assignments down there? So it's a possibility.
He'll probably spend a week or 2 down there at least.
So, but Melissa, so you're saying foul?
Hey,
foul.
Hey, maybe one day.
What was that, DC? Okay. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself, my man. So, Joey, fair or foul?
You said, I didn't hear you. You said DC?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. All I heard was maybe one day.
I swear to God, it's whenever we have any gap, just doesn't want to work. I'm gonna go foul. I'd say shortly after All-Star break, if everything goes well, as far as there's no setbacks, everything goes well as far as his rehab, stuff like that. I'm gonna go foul. I think All-Star break's a little optimistic. Obviously, would love to have him back before then, but I'm gonna go foul. I'd say early August. As an optimistic.
Joey,
Yeah.
My timeline on Trevor has changed a ton, only based off of what people have told me, and not me specifically. I just mean like what the media has told us, like what the headlines have been, and whatever. So I originally believed he was out for the year, and then I believed it would be like, oh, maybe he'll sneak back in September if they're in the race. I was like, oh, maybe he'll come back a little bit earlier. And now the fact that we're sitting here talking, having a real debate about the All-Star break is blowing my mind. So I just wanted to throw that out there first. But I think it's going to be right as of this moment, just based off of what we heard, that Melissa, that you brought up, that people are kind of talking about when he's going to be swinging and when he's going to be doing his rehab stuff. I would bet on immediately after the All-Star break. So technically this is going to be a foul for me.
Okay. Well, I will actually agree with all you guys. I don't have him coming back until August. But if we are still at 500 team, I possibly don't even see them pushing him to come back and hurry him at all this season. There'd be no point. There'd be, for him to sit there and come back and hurry him. Let him take off the whole season, make sure he's 100% healthy, and, come back next year. So I will also say foul on that segment, on that question. So, that was fair or foul. So I love that segment that DC and I came up with. It's kind of debate. We've had some great questions, some great debates on here. So we're gonna swing it around to some final closing thoughts. Melissa, let's start with you. Some closing thoughts coming up.
I'm excited to watch baseball again tomorrow because it was not very fun having a day off for me. So, yeah, I'm glad. Thank y'all for having me on again, and thank you, Joey. It was awesome. I'm a huge fan of ITM, so yeah, they've even bought y'all's merch. So
Appreciate that. Really
I know,
appreciate it.
so, yeah, so I'm just glad to be here.
Hey, you're willing to come back on anytime, Melissa. You know that. So, DC, you're up.
Yeah, I don't have too much. Obviously, thank you to Mo for coming on again. Obviously, you're more than welcome to come on whenever you please. Joey, thank you for giving us your time. Really appreciate it. We're all big fans of what you guys do. I've been listening to Jared and Steve since, they did Section 10. But have somebody that's connected to them, and obviously you're very knowledgeable. You seem like a really cool dude. So really appreciate you taking the time to, join our podcast and, talk some Red Sox baseball. Other than that, we're a month into the season. Obviously, we're not. I don't really think we're really not. We're where we're projected. We're 500 going into the season. It could have gone any either way. You're looking at compared us to the 2013 team. With that grit and stuff, but injuries happen, stuff like that. I'm happy. I'm excited to see what happens in the next month. Talk to me maybe in the beginning of June, but I'm just excited that baseball is back. I love Red Sox. Love to talk with you guys. So just excited to be here.
Joey, some closing thoughts from you because I know Steve is going to be coming after you because it's past your curfew.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I'm out past the street lights coming on. So, I heard the dinner bell ring, and golly bee, I might get a whooping when I get home.
I feel like it's opposite. I feel like you would have to keep Steven. Like, Steve's the child, and you're
no, ain't no shot. No, it might seem that way, but no, our dynamic is big time. Him like reeling me in and being like, "What are you doing? You can't be doing that." That being said, thank you guys really for having me on. I really do appreciate it, and happy to be here. And this is a really good time, hanging out, talking Sox. Laxed atmosphere here, just chilling out. Feel like I'm hanging in DC's basement because I can't stop looking at the basement ceiling above your head, and I just feel like I'm hanging out in your basement right now. Yeah, benching on that rack right there.
I have a 3-month-old baby and a 5-year-old stepdaughter, so it's a little nuts upstairs. And we're getting ready to go to the beach tomorrow, so they're all excited to run. Oh, the baby's not running around, but the 5-year-old's bouncing off the walls up there.
Bro,
I hate it, man. I feel like I'm in a damn dungeon.
It looks good. It feels like I'm there too. It feels like we're all hanging out in the basement, just talking Sox together, hanging out. And God bless you.
Drinking. What were we
kids
drinking?
Under 5 tonight. What am I drinking?
Yeah. What are we drinking tonight?
So tonight I've got a Gosling's Dark and Stormy. I've got the black cherry version. They've got 3 flavors out now to add some tropical flavor to your favorite dark and stormy cocktails. Of course, the black cherry, the mango, and the pineapple. Get them now at Fenway Park or at reservebar.com. With code SHIPGoslings, you can get 10% off and free shipping. I actually don't know if it's 10% off, so don't quote me on that. But no, thank you guys for real for having me on. And go Sox. That's kind of my main thought right now is go Sox. I'm with you, Melissa. I hate off days. Mm-hmm. Off days that are inconvenient because sometimes an off day is like nice. You can hang with the fam, maybe schedule a day for the beach, do whatever. An off day where you got nothing planned is horrendous. You're just sitting around like wishing that there were some Sox on. I watched the Padres earlier because, again, I'm a closeted fan. And 4 or 5 innings in, I was like, you know what? Don't care. Not the Sox. Don't care. That's not true. I watched the whole thing, but I wished it was the Sox the whole time. So, I appreciate you guys having me on. And if you're asking my prediction here for this year Guardian series, I think Sox win this series.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let's hope so. Joey, once again, thanks for coming on. I was sitting there and I told DC a while ago, Section 10 was kind of like the reason we started this podcast. Now with Jared doing his thing, you and Steve doing yours, I love listening to you guys. And you guys are the inspiration of this podcast. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on. And man, hopefully we can get you to come back on again.
Absolutely. Would love to. You guys have my info. So reach on out. And I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah. So thanks for sitting there and stopping listening to the Pesky Podcast. Remember, follow us on Twitter. There and go into our profile, hit the link tree, sub us on YouTube. For Joet, DC, and Melissa and the Ritt, thanks for stopping by the Pesky Podcast.